Thank you so much for downloading today's podcast on the Detroit Sports Podcast Network. Today's episode is brought to you by MyBookie. For all your betting needs this season, check out mybookie.ag. That's mybookie.ag. Use promo code Detroit100 and they'll double your first deposit. You play, you win, you get paid. Again, go visit, enter great contest, and if you're definitely into the action, you don't want to go to any other place besides MyBookie. Visit mybookie.ag, promo code Detroit100. Everyone, it's a new NFL season, and what better way to enhance your experience watching the games with the fellas than to put some action down with a great site. Antonio Brown is on the Raiders. Le'Veon Bell is with the Jets. Odell Beckham is in Cleveland. The one thing that hasn't changed, where I'm putting my money down on all the games. MyBookie is the place to bet on football every weekend. MyBookie has better bonuses and more prop bets than any other sportsbook, period. This year, they're hosting the first online handicapping super contest. First place is guaranteed to win at least $100K, and it only costs $100 to enter. All you got to do is pick 5 NFL games against the spread every week to climb the leaderboard and score your share of the huge cash prize pool. Look, guys, I would only recommend a service to my listeners that's been good to me. That's why MyBookie is always the right play. You bet, you win, they pay. MyBookie has live in-game betting on every NFL game. They've got the most rewarding player perks in the business, and for you fantasy guys out there, you can even bet the over-under on how many fantasy points a player will score each game. All you have to do is visit mybookie.ag, enter promo code Detroit100 to activate this offer. You put up to $1,000 as your first deposit, they'll double it. That's Detroit100 in that promo code, and when you enter your first deposit up to $1,000, double it. Bet, win, get paid with MyBookie.
I was trying to get it how I live. I want them dead presidents. I want to pull up, head spin, get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. I don't get tired. Get it, get fly. I got 6 jobs, I don't get tired. Full-time artist, ex-guard, he said grind harder, learn from every time you ever fail. If it never failed, just grind smarter.
Welcome to the weekend, everybody. I am the Doc, John Macaroon. Truly grateful that you found the latest edition of Two Bad Hombres. I found Vito this morning on the telephone. Vito, what's happening?
John, good morning. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing awesome, man. It's the fall. I got it to experience Michigan State winning. Obviously, you know, the question marks regarding their offense are still going to be there. But hey, when you get a victory, and we can definitely just highlight their defense, so far so good for Michigan State. Definitely a lot of question marks, room for improvement. Today, I'll be heading out to the Big House to cover the Michigan game. College football is back. Football is back. It's a great time of year. The weather has been nice. I'm feeling good, Vito, with the project. Our work together has put together a quality site over there at Maven Sports. I'm really happy. How about you?
I'm doing well, man. You know, I just worked the Prep Kickoff Classic on Thursday and Friday and have some more games later today. And it's actually Detroit team taking on Catholic Central. Quite the match at third kickoff. The Day 3 and finale of the 2019 Gided Prep Kickoff Classic. That team is at 1 o'clock at Wayne State. At 4 o'clock in the final game of the PKC this year is Cass Tech taking on Wendell Phillips Academy from Chicago, Illinois. And those games are organized, and the event as a whole is organized by our sponsor at the Detroit Sports Commission, which you can follow on Twitter and on Instagram at DET Sports. And their terrific website can be found at DetroitSports.org.
Vito, you sound pretty upbeat for your former alma mater taking an ass whooping.
Oh, my God, 41-7. Cam Martinez, Ohio State commit, man, ran all over De La Salle Friday night. It was hideous. It was disgusting. It was hard to bear and to take, but I did. I took it all in and had to write a gamer on the game, and sadly but true, De La Salle took the L, and really in an ass-whooping fashion, as you said, 41-7, and it was 7-7. John, by the way, at one point it was 7-7, and they never scored again. That is, De La Salle never scored again after tying it up having a 7-7 game at one point in that game Friday night.
Yeah, Vito, I want to commend you being part of the Zenith Prep Football Classic. It has definitely grown over the years. People look forward to it. It has that big game feel being at a college campus. I think a lot of the programs that are involved in the games really like it. And it's kind of now the new way to signify that high school football has started. So I think it's a great opportunity for you to be part of it. And I think it has grown. It's really interesting the work that you guys have done. And a guy like me who doesn't exactly pay attention to high school sports definitely is aware that when fall rolls around, look out for the Prep Football Classic.
It's a premier season opening event in the state of Michigan, really in the Midwest as well, when you consider teams come in from Ohio, from Illinois as well. It's just today, later today, Wendell Phillips coming in from Chicago, Illinois to take on Cass Tech in the finale of the 2019 Zenith Prep Kickoff Classic. So 2 great matchups to round out this year's Zenith Prep Kickoff Classic.
Now, in this edition of Two Bad Hombres, we're going to talk about the 2 biggest social issues that are taking place in our time at this point in time, fall 2019. That involves Popeye's chicken, the famous chicken sandwich that sold out everywhere, making everybody crazy. And in the second half of the podcast, we're going to talk about Dave Chappelle's special. It was released on Monday. A lot of people have seen it. And when people react to it, it really is definitely a telling, situation in terms of how people have reacted to it. I definitely am looking forward to Vito's take on what he saw. Me personally, I thought it was a great special, but there has been a negative reaction to some of the content that Dave Chappelle talked about, and it definitely speaks to our time and people's reaction to comedy and what people say. I'm looking forward to that talk in the second half of the podcast. But I think Vito and I are in the same boat in that we have yet to taste this Popeye's chicken sandwich. It's all the rage. Everybody's talking about it everywhere you go. All the media rooms that I pop into, people are talking about, have you had it? What's going on? Have you had to go in a drive-through, wait 10 minutes, and then all of a sudden they put up the sign, it's sold out. It has become all the rage. And all I can say is I'm fascinated, Vito, at how this kind of stuff takes place in terms of how something becomes a national phenomenon. And especially it speaks to, Americans' love of food and Americans' love of chicken and Americans' love of great sandwiches, that people are willing to wait half an hour for a $4 fast food sandwich. Now, we have to give it credit, okay? Because in the media rooms, from everybody that's had an opportunity and been lucky to taste it, my buddy said, John, you got to have it. It's so delicious. It's so good. It is the best sandwich for the value. In the media rooms, everyone's like, wow, for $4, you are not going to taste a better sandwich. So Popeyes has a hit here. The problem is, and I think partly maybe it's contributing to Popeyes being successful, is that there's a limited supply. Whenever there's something that only a certain group of people can have and only people, when there's a shortage of something, then people get all crazy. They get all like, oh my God, I got to have it. There's a chance it could sell out. Literally, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday of this week, if you weren't in line by like noon, you were not getting that sandwich. And who wants fried chicken at 11 a.m.? But all over the country, there's long lines. There's this huge demand for this sandwich. And I find it interesting because of the fact that it involves food, and people have been eating sandwiches for years, but now you got other restaurants chiming in, trying to get into the great chicken debate of 2019. I think it's all fascinating, Vito.
You know what? Honestly, I think people are incredulous regarding something they shouldn't be incredulous and up in arms about, regarding Popeye's chicken sandwiches and a shortage and an outage now. And there's somebody in Tennessee, I believe it is, John, that is suing now Popeyes over the outage of chicken sandwiches. This guy went searching all over the place to other restaurants, then searching for food and said he couldn't find anything, and then had to sue Popeyes for being out of its chicken sandwiches. I mean, come on. How about that? These highly coveted chicken sandwiches. But really, you care that much about a chicken sandwich, man, to sue Popeyes over it? I just think this is incredulous. It's hilarious to me, and it's not going to leave anything for this guy. He's not going to win the settlement. Right, John?
Well, he's not asking for a lot. He's asking for like $5,000. But at the same time...
But still, to win that lawsuit over Popeye's chicken sandwiches being out? Come on, what kind of lawsuit is that, man? It's stupid.
Look, if you're getting trampled or if you're desperate and you're trying to take time off of work to get this sandwich, there is something to be said that, Popeyes in and of itself did not expect this to blow up, because here's the thing, Vito, the sandwich was released in early August and people could freely walk in there and have it. I think, this craze started to blow up when Chick-fil-A posted that, hey, we have the original. And then the chicken battle began because Popeyes responded. Others said, hey, we're in the mix as well. And so this is how it blew up, because then more and more people had it. And Vito, I'm telling you, if just in passing conversation, this is small talk that you could have with someone. You could say, hey, did you have the Popeyes chicken sandwich? Now some of the athletes are weighing in. Detroit Lion went on Twitter and said, oh, man, the hype is real. This stuff is really good. So it's reaching cult status in terms of, and the fascinating part too, Vito, when you look at the entire picture, Popeyes really didn't advertise a whole heck of a lot. There's not a national campaign that says, hey, look at our chicken. This is something that's true. So you have to believe, Vito, this sandwich is delicious, because I truly don't believe millions of people would wait in a drive-thru 15, 20 minutes, lines spilling into streets, if this sandwich wasn't worth it. I went. I have not yet had it. I got in 2 lines because there are 2 locations here in Macomb County, and I got like 4th in line. All of a sudden, I started seeing like 3, 4, 5 people behind me just go right around, and I'm like, what's going on? And as I crept closer, I saw the sign, and I said, oh, no, they don't have the sandwich? And I felt a sense of loss, because my buddy Ken told me. I asked him, I said, you're a food guy. Did you ingest this sandwich? What do you think? What's your honest review? He's like, bro, best sandwich I ever had. And he spoke glowingly, text after text, photo after photo, and he wouldn't blow smoke up my ass. He said, John, it's worth it. It's delicious. Go there and find it and taste it. And so in your mind, you start getting riled up. You're like, what's it going to taste like? Is it going to be good? Is it going to be this experience? Because for me, here's my scenario. I tried Chick-fil-A. I heard all the hype. And yes, it's good, but I didn't try it with the sauce. I was in a health kick at the time. So I went and I took that first bite thinking it was going to be this all-world chicken sandwich. And, Vito, I've ingested a lot of food, a lot of fast food, a lot of fried foods, and it didn't live up to that, the hype. This could, because of the fact that, the way people describe the recipe, the way in which people describe this sandwich, I think this sandwich could live up to the hype. I can't wait to try it. I don't know when, because I got to get back on this diet. Eating well is really hard in this culture with all the desserts, all the good foods. But I think Popeye's Chicken has done something here with word of mouth, the way in which this product has swept the nation.
Hey, just like Stephen A. Smith says, stay off the weed. I'm going to say stay off or stay away from these Popeye's chicken sandwiches. And it's funny with the weed conversation on a side note, the Surgeon General just warned that pregnant women and teenagers should not be smoking or vaping marijuana, that it's a dangerous drug now. So somehow this just came to be, by the way, too. I mean, totally in a different side conversation here that's separate from the Popeye's chicken sandwiches, but I read up on it, saw it, and I saw the doctor that warned these people of this marijuana being dangerous. Now, it's a guy by the name of Jerome Adams. Dr. Jerome Adams, that's my middle name, by the way, Vito Jerome, and he's the Surgeon General that came out with this warning about marijuana being dangerous specifically for pregnant women and teenagers. Anyways, back to the point about Popeye's chicken sandwiches, John. They are dangerous for you. I thought you were dieting, trying to eat healthy.
I
People
know.
are sick. I mean, what happened here, John? Now you're going to go eat Popeye's chicken sandwiches?
I know.
This can't be good for you, John. Get back on track, man. You and Kenny both. Tell Kenny as well.
I might have to get into the one bite thing where I just taste it just to see what it's like. Man, Vito, part of you doesn't want to try it. Part of you just doesn't want to take Nick out and go, Nick, look, let me take my newfound bonus money from the podcast and my endeavors and just take him out for lunch and say, hey, thanks for being my bud, and go enjoy some chicken sandwiches?
Yeah, we're not going to get chicken sandwiches together, okay? That's a little bit weird. I mean, that sounds like I'm going out on a date with them. Now, we hang out a lot, trust me. But I'm not going to take him out to Popeyes to get a chicken sandwich, though. And I don't think the guy would even eat it. I wouldn't eat it either. Now, actually, I'll say this. You brought up the one bite situation. I'll try it with one bite, okay? That's about it. That's about it for me with that Popeye's chicken sandwich.
You're not a big chicken guy. You're not really a big foodie. You're not a guy that really gets.
Got fast food. Hey, I'm trying to stay trained and proper. I got to find a woman still. Now you're already married. You've been married for what, 9 years now?
Yeah,
I mean,
9
you've
years.
got a head start on everything. I got to find a woman still, John. Remember that.
You got to maintain your svelte figure, but yeah, fast food definitely plays a big part in our society, man. I think a lot of people enjoy food, and obviously here in the Midwest with the long winters, people definitely indulge. And Adam and I used to joke on the Doc and Jock podcast how fat the state of Michigan is. When you just roll around and look at people, there's a lot of fat people out here in Michigan, myself included.
Yeah, and guess what? It's every walk of life that you see that is big in Michigan. And Michigan has had this obesity problem for how long now? It seems like for years and years. So, yeah, let's start eating healthy, everybody. And we see in these cafeterias in schools, right? Aren't these kids eating healthier? There's better meal options now. So how about for the adults, too, John, such as you, that you start eating healthier, man? You know, scrap these fried chicken sandwiches from your diet. Eat a grilled chicken sandwich, which I believe you've eaten. That's a healthier option, John. And I'm not trying to preach to you and change it. I wouldn't want to ever change you. You are the Doc and Jock, and the co-founder of this network. But man, maybe you'll start really eating healthier on a consistent basis. Actually,
God, Vito, you're like a buzzkill. I'm trying to eat.
I know this was harsh. I know this was harsh to you, and it's a buzzkill about this story, and it's captivated the nation, hasn't it? Which I just still can't believe. I can't believe, John, how this story has captivated the nation over chicken sandwiches. Get over yourself, guys, and go find another solution for eating. Go to another fast food restaurant. There's other good fast food restaurants. I like Wendy's, by the way, and I'm going fast food. I'm going there to Taco Bell. So go to one of those places. They have good fast food options.
Would you not entertain the serious notion that maybe the sandwich is that good if millions and millions of people have tried it and have recommended it to their friends and everybody around them? Wouldn't you assume naturally that the sandwich is really that delicious?
Oh, I bet it's really good, but I don't really care at the end of the day, because I don't want to eat a fried chicken sandwich from Popeyes. No offense to Popeyes or to those that go there, but I want to go to another fast food place that I think you can eat a little bit healthier at, or I'm going to eat a home-cooked meal from my mom. I still live at home. Sad but true, at 26 years young, but I'll admit to the masses as I am right now, so I get some great home-cooked meals, an Italian home-cooked meals from my mom, who's a great cook. So I'm not venturing out to Popeyes yet. Not with that being said.
Has there been anything at all, Vito, that in the food world that really captivates your attention where you go, man, every time I have it, like a pasta dish or somewhere you went where you said, man, that slider was really good? Nothing has caught your attention, huh? Me neither. Maybe when White Castles really blew up late at night in college, you definitely would make a White Castle run. But yeah, in 2019, nothing has captivated me personally. I mean, pizza's good. Every now and then you try a specialty pizza. Jets obviously has great food, but for you, I don't think nothing really has captivated you in terms of anything in the fast food world.
I don't eat much. I mean, look at me. I weigh less than 100 pounds or like 105 pounds at the most, and I haven't been on a scale in a long time now. But yeah, I don't weigh too much. And my diet, what it used to really consist of, and my friends when I lived in Berkeley would make fun of me for it, is pretzels. I would eat pretzels all the time. Pretzels with peanut butter, pretty much anything with peanut butter, including bananas, and I just love peanut butter, man. I think peanut butter on anything, and literally, is good to me. But in terms of a dish or a meal, I would say my mom's home-cooked spaghetti. That is terrific, by the way. Also, I like her Italian sausage that she makes. Really, any kind of Italian dish or breaded meat as well. But when I go fast food, I do like the chili from Wendy's and from Tim Hortons. Kitty Ho-Hos, as I like to call it. And I love eating at Tim Hortons on Sundays after church with my family. And it's a Sunday tradition for us at this point. So really love Wendy's. I love Tim Hortons. Really, Tim Hortons is number one for me. And one thing, I like the chili from a lot of fast food places. How about yourself?
Vito, obviously, I like a lot of food. Middle Eastern food, Italian food, Mexican food, food in general, desserts, appetizers.
Anything that's tangible that you can eat, anything that you can eat, actually you're eating, right? In so many words, or you try at least at some point or another.
Yeah, no doubt, Vito. I got to cut it down. It's fall. I got to recommit. It's tough, man, especially in this culture, man. It's really tough to eat healthy, but I got to try something because, like I said, I'm 40. I want to get back in the gym. Obviously, I have a lot of endeavors. I need a lot more energy. So, unfortunately, maybe I'll try one bite of the chicken sandwich to give a review. Maybe I'll spoil you and get a handful and see how many you can down. We'll have the Popeye's chicken challenge and see how many Vito can down in 20 minutes.
Oh, you know what? I'll see how many can end up in the garbage in the studio. How about that?
Exactly.
So don't spend your money on it. Don't waste your money, John.
The reason why we can keep the studio lights on, we can keep the mics hot, is because of great sponsors. And Vito's here to tell you about the sponsor of this episode of Two Bad Hombres, DC Sports, over there at Lakeside Mall.
Yes, John. Detroit City Sports is located at Lakeside Mall in Sterling Heights. And actually, last night, Friday night, at the Zenith Prep Kickoff Classic on Tom Adams Field at Wayne State, I saw DC Sports there. They had a table. Steve Grouse, the founder and owner of DC Sports, was there and talked to him for a little bit, and they were selling some of their authentic sports memorabilia. So that was terrific to see DC Sports being a sponsor of this year's Zenith Prep Kickoff Classic in its 15th year. But back to DC Sports. Yes, it is your source, a go-to destination for authentic sports memorabilia and terrific autograph signing sessions in Metro Detroit and beyond. And to find out much more about what they're selling today and moving forward and what kind of guys they have coming in for autograph signings, please follow DC Sports on Twitter at DC Sports Detroit and make sure to check out their terrific website at DetroitCitySports.com.
Yeah, DC Sports, a great sponsor of the network. We thank them for sponsoring this edition of Two Bad Hombres. All right, Vito, everyone's talking about it. The other craze that's sweeping the nation, anytime that Dave Chappelle drops a special, man, everybody stops what they're doing. They pay attention to it. And many people will consider Dave Chappelle one of the foremost legends in the world of comedy, and especially in stand-up comedy specials. The sheer amount of money that he's earned to do these specials is obscene. It's a ton of money. And so now on Netflix, this is his 5th special. It's called Sticks and Stones. It's an hour-long special, and I highly recommend you watch it before you weigh in because it has been controversial. People are eliciting the name of Richard Pryor in terms of comparison, in terms of how they view this special. It is that good, okay? I definitely, Vito, in my work here in the practice, I tell people, really, the bottom line, laughter is the best medicine. If you're someone that has an open heart, an open mind, and you're willing to laugh, and you have the ability to accept comedy for what it is, I think it's a great comedy special. It's really funny. Now, is it edgy? Yes. Is it controversial? Yes. He touches on a lot of things. He hits on a lot of groups. But at the end of the day, at the end of the special, if you make your way through it, he does say, I definitely, experience these things in my life. If I haven't made fun of you, it's because I haven't been around you. And what he's saying is he talks about poor people and jokes about poor people because he's been poor. He talks about women. He talks about gays. He talks about damn near everything in these special. He is a social commentator. But I think for those that are offended, and that's why we're talking about it, is there's been this groundswell of people who have come out and said, oh, this is definitely terrible. This is something I'm offended by. This is something that you should not entertain and enjoy. I would say this, okay? If you're getting offended by a comedy special, look deep inside you and ask yourself, what's wrong with me? What nerve did he touch? What personal situation has he brought up that's made me feel this way? Okay? Because when you entertain comedy, okay, I'm not looking for social justice. I'm not looking for value based on what a comedian says. The comedian's job is to tell stories from his perspective and to make jokes. If you go into it with an open heart, open-minded, and you're a happy person, you walk away laughing. I was bent over laughing at the way the jokes were set up, how they were told. They were jokes, okay? And I think that's what people in 2019 are failing to recognize is jokes are supposed to kind of hit a nerve. They're supposed to kind of touch at that question of, oh, does he really think that way? Look, if you sit with Dave Chappelle, do I think he's racist? Do I think he's a homophobe? No. Do I think that he's anti-women and he's a misogynist? No. Do I think he's one funny dude? Yes. Do I think he's a masterful writer and a great storyteller? Yes. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm really upset that I go online and I read people's comments like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. You should be offended. This is something that should be taken off the air. I'm like, dude, it's just a comedy special. It's just an hour glimpse of someone's thoughts, and you either like it or you don't. That's really the only value you should place on these specials. Was it funny to you or was it not? That's it. If you're offended by it, all right. I don't think you need to take to the airwaves to share your displeasure, especially in a world where there's real problems with homelessness, mental health challenges, the opioid stuff. You're going to turn your attention to a comedian who's out there spitting really quality stuff. Come on, man, it's really good. You had a chance to peek into it a little bit, Vito. What'd you think?
Well, first and foremost, jokes aren't meant to be taken seriously. We all take jabs at each other and playful fun, and I do with my sarcastic tone. And Dave Chappelle, also, from what you said yourself, John, I share the sentiment. I don't believe that he is racist or a homophobe or any of the other labels that you threw out there, that he could be based off of watching this comedy special from Dave Chappelle on Netflix called Dave Chappelle Sticks and Stones. He's a comedian in this special doing his job as he has done for many, many years. And see, in this politically correct climate that we live in, John, a lot of this is taken as being offensive towards a specific sect of the population. And it shouldn't be, because he's a comedian. So I hate when people misconstrue the meaning behind somebody's words when they're in a comedy special such as this one with Dave Chappelle, because he doesn't mean to offend everybody out there, or really to sum it all up, he's not seriously homophobe or a racist. He is making comments in a joking manner for the sake of his comedy special to induce laughter, because he's a comedian. That's his job, and that's what he does to make his money. He's made a hell of a lot of money doing these specials, by the way, as well. And I think with this special on Netflix, he's made multi-million dollars off of this. And it's drawn some backlash and criticism from some people on Twitter and all throughout social media. So you're going to get some of this negative commentary exuded towards him because of the fact that some people just, well, they don't like this humor. But at the end of the day, it is humor. And if you don't like it, turn it off. Nobody is telling you that you have to watch the whole entire special. So if you don't like it, just turn it off and go watch something else. That's how I view it, even though I'm a guy that stands for morals and values, and I believe I have some strong standards. Even with that being said, I get it when somebody is joking around and doing their job as a comedian, as Dave Chappelle is doing with this special on Netflix.
Okay, let's try to put ourselves in the shoes of those that are offended. Why are people offended? Yes, he does talk about homosexuals. Yes, he talks about women. I think probably the biggest point, and this is a spoiler alert, is he does talk about the Me Too movement, and he kind of gives a judgment on it. Now, I understand that perspective a little bit, but at the same time, I could see and understand a little bit why people would be offended when someone's talking about really something that's really personal, near and dear to a lot of people's heart. But again, it goes to the point that we've said. It's, social commentary. And again, I think what has to happen is there has to be a certain level of a willingness to have perspective. Okay, you have to also accept that there's going to be people that do not have and share your view. Vito, I can understand that there may be some people who view podcasts as like this dirty form of broadcasting, that it's not real radio. That's fine. You can have that opinion. I just said that I found it to be pleasurable to me. I invested in it. I thought that it was a beautiful platform because it gives flexibility. We're allowed to say whatever we want, and it allows us to broadcast in a way that's so rewarding and a little bit longer form where we don't have to have 5 minutes of commercials. We only got like 3, and it allows us to branch out, get our name out there, and really develop relationships that way. But I understand there's going to be some people who hate podcasts, who will never click on it, who will never become aware of even how to get one. Or there will be some people, Vito, who never even know what it is. So that's fine. But at the same time, I'm not mad at them. I go, hey, I love this medium. I invested in it, so I go and do it. But I'm open-minded. I understand that some people don't like it, and I understand there's some people who don't like the work that I do. I'm a psychologist. Some people will say, "Hey,"
such as myself.
Yeah, exactly. You'll be like, "Hey, it's
you don't respect the work that you do."
Yeah,
right here, you're co-host of this podcast.
Yeah, and some people will say, hey, it's a pseudoscience. You can't really help people. That's fine. I say, okay. But those that I feel like in 15 years that have sat across from me, they got something out of it. And that's my goal, and that's my passion, and that's what I'm proud to say that I built, as well as I built not only a great podcast network, but I built a practice. Because remember, Vito, you've been coming here, to the office for damn near 5 years. And so you have to have a place to come to. So that would indicate that I run my practice in a way where people come because I got to pay the rent. I got to pay the bills. So don't discount the fact that, hey, you've showed up to Sterling Heights to the same office that's been paid for, whereas other people will close or not be as, as lucky and successful as I've been. And so I look at it from this perspective. Enjoy the special. Enjoy life. If you're one of those people that's really an angry activist and you're mad at the world for the beliefs that they have, take a look at yourself. Take a look and ask yourself, do I want to spend my whole life being angry and riling up the masses and being offended by everything, going on Twitter and saying, oh my God, look at this Dave Chappelle special. It's horrible. You could go and say, look, there's a homeless crisis in California. There's this crisis, among those that are lacking the proper access to mental health care. There's so many more things to be needing your attention, that to comment on a Dave Chappelle special outside of, I thought it was funny, I thought it wasn't, is really crazy. And and I think that's my new personal test regarding how I think about someone. That's going to be my new test, whether I judge someone or not. I'm going to say, hey, did you watch the Dave Chappelle special? Did you like it? And if they go, no, it's so offensive, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, and we probably won't interact. But if I find someone that's
you can't joke around.
Yeah.
And you can't joke around with them. You kind of know from that.
Yeah, you can't joke around. That means you can't talk to someone like that. That means you could say something off the cuff and, you might sever the relationship. So that's the test. If you like Dave Chappelle's special, we can at least maintain a conversation. If you were offended by it, we got to roll in different boats.
Here's what I take from all of this. Don't criticize Dave Chappelle, but criticize the president, okay? Take your shots at him, the classless president that currently resides in the White House. There you go, John. I know you love hearing that. Yeah. But realistically, what you were saying about the homelessness, and there are bigger issues, such as with the president, what's going on in the White House and outside of the White House, affecting our nation and our world at a large scale. There are those issues that deserve to be talked about, deserve to have attention brought to them. This with Dave Chappelle is just doing his job. And once again, if you don't like his social commentary through his special, turn it off and watch something else.
That's it. Exactly right. I've enjoyed the conversation with Vito. I'll say this, though, Vito. Your life has drastically improved in the last couple of years through your hard work and through opportunities that have been provided to you. So I think it's an opportunity for you to be fair in that America has been great again under these in the last 4 years under the terms of this president.
America was great prior to him as well. And I will argue that point to the end of my life on this earthly planet. I'll just tell you that, John. That's everything for me on this episode.
Thanks, Vito. I enjoy the conversation. Follow Vito on Twitter at Vito Jerome. Does great work, does great editing. He's a great asset to the network and to Maven Sports. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast. If you've agreed or disagreed with anything, feel free, lob us a message. We enjoy the banter. We embrace debate. We love having the conversation. We love interacting with those that support us. I can't wait to talk to you next week, Vito. Thanks for dialing me up this morning. Get to work.
John, Michigan, big victory tonight at the Big House, and you get to witness firsthand. You will love it seeing U of M blow out Middle Tennessee State in their opener.
Adios.
Adios, John.